Splot Studios, the final resting place for the corpse of George Washington Carver, proudly presents
TomHanksgiving, right here every Tuesday. TomHanksgiving, come on and press play. There's Elvis, the host with the most, yada 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 yada. With a different guest each week, they're the smart ones. Each episode's a new movie about Tom Hanks, the man himself. Of course, it's time for TomHanksgiving. It's the best you can get. It's the rootinest, tootinest podcast on the internet. TomHanksgiving.
Howdy, partner, and welcome to TomHanksgiving, the only podcast where violins are preferred to violence. If you can't tell from the terrible puns or the episode title, this week we're doing something very different. We're talking about an episode of Tales from the Crypt, the 1989 to 1996 HBO-started horror anthology series with an amazing Muppet at the center of it, kind of hosting the show. And we're talking specifically about an episode today that was 1992's Season 4, Episode 1, None But the Lonely Hearts, which, of course, stars our boy, Tom Hanks, and was his directorial debut. So, a lot of exciting things to talk about on the show, but before we've gone too long, let's introduce our two special guests this week. Guys, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm Jenny Lorenzo.
I'm George Kaplan.
And so Jenny and George, thanks for being on the show.
Thanks for having us, man. This has been quite the experience.
Great to be here.
Yeah, we literally just watched this episode, and if you haven't seen it, you can go and watch the entire thing on YouTube right now. Just type in Tales from the Crypt. It's one of the first things that shows up. It's the episode title again is None But the Lonely Hearts, and it's like a 27-minute. Easy breezy little horror film.
Yeah, fun schmaltzy.
George, you kind of jumped on last minute here, so you had no idea what was coming. But Jenny, why did you choose a Tales from the Crypt episode?
I mean, I grew up watching Tales from the Crypt, and now I'm wondering how the hell I watched it, considering it was HBO. I'm really curious as to how.
It must have played on reruns on the Sci-Fi Channel, because that's how I would have seen it.
Somewhere, dude. I mean, again, like, I feel like, you and I are close in age. So we were born and raised in the 90s. Well, I was born in the late 80s, but 90s kids nonetheless. Mm-hmm. And we were like
we're
raised
both
around
almost
that.
You're just trying to say we're both almost as old as the Crypt Keepers.
Yes. I need to get better at like speaking in concise terms. But basically, 90s kids were raised in a very tough manner according to television and film. There was like Looney Tunes getting smashed in the head and dying horrible deaths repeatedly.
Television was very hard on us.
Yeah. There was Nickelodeon's Are You Afraid of the Dark? They would never play that today. And then...
my favorite childhood show was Law & Order SVU, so that's my...
No Hanks connection as far as I can tell. So we're not talking about that today. But George, you said this is the first... You've only seen bits and pieces before.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. As a kid, I never really watched like a full episode. I was a scaredy cat as a kid, so to have to watch Tales from the Crypt would be like me as an adult intentionally going to like watch it specifically. So this is my first time that I've seen it.
That makes
sense.
I just
found it amusing. He sounds like Skeletor a bit. You know?
Yeah. It's almost like a weird, violent Tom Kenny in the background. I love it. I remember the thing I remember most about Tales from the Crypt as a child was watching the introduction all the way up until the Crypt Keeper came on, terrified me, and then I would turn off the TV and not watch the episode. But I was addicted to that opening. And in fact, I once won a trivia contest where we were guessing TV theme songs, and that was the championship point.
Wow.
The opening was like better than any episode I've seen of MTV Cribs. That was my...
Yeah, it was a nice little tour there. It kind of has like the same build as the Haunted Mansion in Disney.
It's very...
spiral staircase. It takes its damn time down there.
That was crazy. We were watching this thing, and the whole opening sequence takes at least, a minute and a half?
Dude, yeah. There's not even any credits going on.
Yeah, because there's credits in the actual... Because every episode it opens with an opening, and then the Crypt Keeper's like the host character, like Elvira or something like that. And he's like, and today we're introducing this episode. And then that episode, because it's directed and has its own cast, that's when the opening credits come. So it's like this crazy... This would never play on into the internet.
You think a minute and a half is not that long, but it's a lot of
it
time
is.
for someone to not be speaking.
Don't get me wrong, though. I love the minute and a half.
Me too.
crawl.
It was
I'm
great.
feeling terrible for the handy cam, like the steady cam
The
dude.
Steadicam
That's like-
operator.
Yeah.
And the guy trailing behind him.
Yes.
Just
Yeah.
following him the whole way downstairs.
Yeah.
Well, the good news is that you can clearly see a lot of matte cuts, like as they go through doors, we're clearly entering
Yeah.
a new
Like,
set. It's not continuous.
It just makes me, like, when I see something like that, I just think, what the hell is this dude doing with this giant-ass fucking mansion? He's just in his coffin. You know, like, what does he do when he's not
He's not
filming?
enjoying the furniture. That's
I
for
just
sure.
want to know. I'd like to know what he's doing with his time in such a big place.
From what I remember, he never leaves like his basement laboratory setup, which I guess has enough scenery changes to set up. Like
Yeah.
obviously he's in a diner in this.
I would like to
this
see him in
opening.
his kitchen.
Yeah, I know. I'm sure
Yeah.
he's cooked. Actually, I recall distinctly seeing the Crypt Keeper with a chef hat.
Right? Yes,
and
I
an
do
apron.
too.
So I know he cooks.
Okay.
I don't know if we've seen
That's
like
good.
a kitchen, but he gets around.
Takes advantage of
Good, he has
his...
hobbies.
Yeah, I've never seen us go. The one thing, having seen this intro so many times, is we never go up the stairs. And it's like, oh, the basement's going to be scarier, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know what's upstairs.
What about the attic?
Who's in the attic?
I don't know.
Is there another, like, scary show? Is that where Elvira sits? Or who's another, like, weird, creepy Muppet host? So,
Gonzo? I don't
Gonzo's, dead Gonzo. Or maybe Uncle Deadly's up there.
Oh my god.
They probably go to play canasta together at least. So, okay, before we dive into the actual episode proper, a few more things. What do you guys think of the Crypt Keeper?
He's a swell dude, man.
Yeah, he's pretty
I
suave.
I respect the fact that he keeps any shred of his hair left.
Yeah,
He doesn't, you know,
he's not doing the new age.
No.
Gotta
he
go
just
clean.
keeps it there.
He knows who he is.
He's-
I will say that.
And he's not apologizing for it.
No.
I love the practical effects of it. Just the crazy, it's ridiculous lightning bolt flashes, but it looks so cool and cheesy. And the puppet for the Crypt Keeper looks great.
He does. For the fact that it was, you know, done in the 90s.
Yeah, like they spent a lot of money on that intro and him specifically. And you can tell when you watch the actual episode.
Well, that's the beauty of the 90s, though. Like, they had dinosaurs. Like, they really took
Their
their time with
practicals
their
were so
puppets.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
their animatronics and their effects. And even their intros. The 90s was all about those freaking intros, man.
I love the intros.
Now it's like there's no such thing.
You
People-
get-
people want to jump right in.
Yeah. 2 seconds. Let's
a
go.
word and like 2 notes of music.
Yeah.
Lost. And then you're
And that's
in
it. Yeah.
Yeah, I missed the good old theme song, the introduction, but I did not remember. Like, everybody knows the Crypt Keeper for being like the master of puns, but Jesus Christ,
forget.
we were almost drowning. Like 2
Oh, that
seconds
last
in.
one was so good too.
The last one was great.
Oh.
Because it just showed what much, you know, he's a freaking perv.
Oh yeah, I mean it's no surprise that the Crypt Keeper. I mean he lives alone, and of course he's a total perv. When's the last time you think he got laid?
I don't know. I mean, it seemed like he had another lady there.
He had some
but-
guests there, but they were pretty dead.
They were dead. I mean, I guess that makes him more of a necrophiliac, probably.
Yeah.
I'm sure he gets his.
If
If
hours
there's
out.
anyone who could take advantage of that.
But then that raises the question: can a dead person consent?
Oh my god.
Before we get into that, let's dive into our proper episode. None But the Lonely
Hard-hitting
Hearts, which is exciting because it's not only is Tom Hanks in it for some glorious supporting cast, but he directed this movie and or this short. And another notable thing about it is this short was used along with 3 episodes of that and made up a TV movie called The Vault of Horror.
Horror or horror?
Horror. So it's like a part of a compilation movie too. So this is
Okay,
interesting
wow.
because it's like halfway between TV Hanks and movie Hanks, kind of just because of that.
Interesting.
So this is new territory on the podcast.
Oh my god.
But why don't you guys sum up what happens in None But the Lonely Heart?
Well, we open up to like the most schmaltzy musical intro, leading to a very romantic dinner at a long table.
Well, this isn't a play-by-play. This is...
Actually, the opening shot where we go and see her grotesque lips.
Oh my god, in the mirrors?
Yeah.
Turned
All
off.
of the mirrors?
Such a great shot, and
Yes.
like you can tell. Oh, here's some interesting direction, like already from this guy.
Yeah.
Why do you
Tom
think-
Hanks has some visuals up his sleeve.
Yeah.
Why the just the lip smacking that was done to an excess.
Well, it was obviously we were all off-put by it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think, that was intentional. And having seen the whole thing now, I think it's just kind of calling ahead for she's going to tear him apart. It kind of is.
Oh, yeah, like
foreshadowing of the song.
foreboding,
She's
yeah.
tasting him.
Yeah.
Because it's really abstracting her. At first, I'm like, is this just a monstrous, like, woman? So, I mean, it may be the quality of the video that we saw, but it's like, is this a monstrous woman sitting at a table? I wouldn't know if it was going to be just a straight up, nice old woman that just is lonely.
But definitely the kind of segmentation of just focusing on just her mouth and that sound, it definitely puts you in this, like, we're repelled by her instantly. Which is interesting because then we're immediately in kind of Howard's shoes, and he's the best.
Yeah.
So sorry, not to derail you, but what else happens in the movie? So,
Well, I mean, dude loves watching VHS tapes filled with dating videos. These poor old women that are looking for a companion.
he's essentially a gold digger.
Yeah.
Definitely money hungry. Doesn't know how to handle his money, though.
No, very bad at it.
So that's why he keeps dating old chicks and killing them.
Yeah. Finding them on VHS Tinder. And,
The Tinder of the 90s.
Which is where we meet Tom Hanks. He's the runner of this video dating service. At least this office, this branch. And so we begin the first scene. He offs this old lady. Immediately calls 911.
Yeah. Puts on a hell of an act.
And then we see funeral. His business partner's like, you gotta stop doing this, even though I guess this is how we're making our money still.
Yeah. At first, it almost seemed like they were a couple. The way that they were relating to each other.
That probably would have been
interesting.
a more interesting choice than
I might be fine. Yeah. We need to get away together. It seemed like we had a place to get away.
There was very little in the way of motivation beyond money.
Yeah. They just wanted to be able to live off of their old lady earnings.
Yeah, and I guess this guy. Well, anyway, so he finds another. He's like, "Oh no, they're gonna court-martial them or something." Like they found out that something fishy's going on with this money, which is how could they have not have at this point? And then so they're worried they're gonna pull to court. His business partner Morty is like, "Let's leave town," but he's like, "We don't have any money. The $5 million is now gone or something."
That didn't make any sense to me.
I know that they had like $2 million, which he said was not enough, to take care of them for the rest of their lives.
It's very little money.
There was $5 million that I just received that was,
that was like
sketchy money.
Yeah, and then and then he's like, "Let me do one more. Let me just go back for one more lady."
It's almost to the point that I almost think he enjoyed it.
Oh, he did, and
yes.
So anyway, he goes with one more lady, or he well, I actually really like the scene where he's just fast forwarding through the videotape. It's a nice, quick way to demonstrate exactly what he's looking for, how ruthless he is.
His type.
Yeah.
And then he stops on the one old lady. He's like, "Nah, this one, she's got nothing for me."
Yeah.
I like that a little bit. And then he finds Effie, played by Frances Sternhagen, who is most famous for playing Ma Clavin from Cheers. There's so many people in this movie. I didn't recognize Treat Williams is the name of the guy who plays Howard Prince, the main character, and he's been in a lot of stuff, including The Empire Strikes Back, just as like an uncredited stormtrooper or somebody.
Oh well, yeah.
But he's been in a lot of stuff, and just I've never
Quite
noticed
the
him.
role in this.
But yeah, and so he lusts after Ma Clavin, finds her. She's rich. She's lonely. Her butler is Henry Gibson, the villain in The Burbs, another Tom Hanks picture, and plays a Nazi in Blues Brothers. That guy's great. He's been in a lot of stuff. And then filling out the cast is Sugar Ray Leonard in his acting debut as the Gravedigger. And he didn't really get much to do.
Not really.
He had some emotional kind of.
Did he?
Something. He had a moment.
He had a crazy death though on repeat.
Yeah.
Which of those sick edits.
We'll get into the specifics of the death. So anyway, he our boy Treat Williams, Howard Prince, goes after Ma Clavin and her money. They get a whirlwind romance. He pulls the same scheme. It starts to go.
Yeah, but his scheme was pretty interesting.
Yeah, and then but the interesting thing is he starts getting blackmailed. So he's going to tie up all the loose ends. He goes to kill his business partner Morty. He goes to kill Tom Hanks.
And through very interesting
on a
methods.
The whole thing takes a turn when he ends up like all of the ladies dead, and then he goes to the graveyard, and then the gravedigger is like, they still want you, and then there's zombies.
Yeah, they're zombies, and
I think they raped
They were
him
talking to
death.
Sugar Ray Leonard before this, and they're just telling him when is he going to come back or something.
Yeah.
Like, I really think that's the key scene that I wanted to see. I think that's what was missing.
That one scene.
I
Them
always
having
want to see
conversations with
like
him.
the conversations before the big interaction. Like they want to talk to you. They want to talk to you. It's just like
Interesting.
Yeah, and so our weird gold digging murderer gets his comeuppance when he gets an orgy of death from his 4 to 5 zombie old lady brides.
That's
very
a way to
romantic.
die, though. That's
that really. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that last shot where their hand goes over his hand.
Yeah, it was a bit more sexual to me than zombie-esque. I'm gonna eat your brain.
It was
kind
a
of death.
very sexual thing, and I think from the very beginning with that weird
with
Can't
snapping
get it up,
mouth.
right?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
This movie, like as much as you can get away with in a weird. Well, it was HBO. Horror. It's very sexual, and what do you make of the whole thing where Howard says he doesn't work like that? Is that all bullshit, or is there any truth to that?
Well, that lady Effie seemed pretty damn happy the morning after they had a nice little.
They definitely got some.
Yeah.
Which implies that it totally works.
But Cindy,
I'm just glad that someone took advantage of that, though. It's just like you're getting all this, like, man, and you haven't seen it in a while. Like,
Don't you think that would have raised red flags, though? That was his key trick into making her believe his story. That, look, I only want companionship because a young, hot man like me can't get a woman my age because I can't bang him. So then, that very night, they fall in love. Super believable. And then they have sex, and then apparently his dick works. Now, forgive my French here, but no offense to the French. But there's 2 problems with this. A, the fact that he got a boner.
You know, I missed out on his impotence. I didn't know that was.
That's what I.
Oh.
How did you miss that?
I don't know.
What,
was
did
like
you have a
his
different
stellar.
interpretation then why he couldn't be with younger women?
No, I just thought there was just a quality in older women that he was just seeking. You know, I just missed the exact wording.
Well, it makes sense for the old lady to be that thirsty because she said that her late husband, also had that same problem. Apparently, when they met. So that makes me like, did she marry him for his money? How's this been working?
Yeah, and then he said he was well-to-do, so it's like it could be interpreted. It's like, oh yeah, I want that money.
I mean, I would have raised red flags.
Now, here's what struck me as so odd about this. When I was watching it, I want to see if you guys had the same reaction. When we were watching this, the falling in love stuff happens so quickly. Like you said, it happens in a single night. It happens before they have dinner.
We were under the impression that it was over that building of the puzzle, but it turns out it wasn't.
Because that was her
I
husband
thought
never
that was
finished
a great
it.
like motif. It's just like, oh, it's like very like No, not. What am I thinking of? You keep going. I'm just.
Thinking of Banjo-Kazooie, they do a lot of puzzles in that.
Yeah, exactly.
It would have been a great another visual, but it didn't. It seemed like the visual storytelling there was like, oh, they spent time together, maybe days together at this point. Who knows, building this puzzle. But then they undercut it by it was the same day, same outfits.
I mean, it's the same outfits.
Yeah, and I think they actually said that her husband never finished the puzzle. So
And she just left it there.
Yeah, which is just like such a throwaway.
Yeah, when you could have done some really interesting, but I guess they got to move the story along and.
I wanted to see a fun montage of them having a picnic in the park and making love in their jacuzzi.
But it would have been taken
taken
care of by that puzzle, right? It's like they made that puzzle together and then they got to know each other. And
but I don't think you needed the montage. You just needed to imply that they had spent that much time, and you had that with the puzzle.
Yeah,
but
it was really smart direction, and then the writing actually undercut it.
Then what's happening then in terms of who directed it?
Exactly. He actually
Sir Tom Hanks
using what he's got, and doesn't quite fall together with the actual story on the page. But what was so interesting about that is because it happens so quickly, and she's so like she's very proactive in pushing this relationship, even though she states up front in the video that she's very overcautious. She knows exactly what his game is.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's because of the day and age we're in where subversion is kind of the popular thing. I expected her, like I called out, I think she's playing him. And because these movies, like it's a Twilight Zone-esque show, it always has this other twist to it. So I was expecting the other twist that she was a murderer and was going to get him back, or like he was going to fall to her hand. But that she really was that naive.
Yeah, I was expecting
but it
that
almost
too.
happened though, because we all thought she died via the poisoned red wine. And then she gets it back up again and tries to kill him, and I was like, fuck yeah, and I thought she was gonna have a weapon or like pull his heart out or some crazy shit, and then he just threw it on the stairs. So I was kind of like, oh.
They made out this butler too. They had all these shots where he's like watching him, and I really thought he would have been more of a threat. The way they were making him out.
Yeah, he turned out to be a little wormy dude in the end.
Yeah, he's like, oh, you better stay away from her.
Dr. Klopek, you are not Henry Gibson. That's a call head for our Burbs episode.
But the thing is, though, do you think she knew what his game was? Because it seems like she really wasn't poisoned. She got up with full strength.
She did? So do you think then that she had known about the poison and switched it out?
I think something happened there, because
I don't know if there's enough evidence to suggest
I don't know if
that.
maybe she had some kind of resistance to, or just this moment of just adrenaline.
It could have been adrenaline. She did just get some good dicking in the other day.
No,
She did.
And
She
she's
can't
married.
take
Like, they
some-
fucking got married within 3 days, at least.
Was it? Oh, God.
Yeah, and they came back from City Hall. We didn't see the wedding, of course.
She's got
That would've
some
been too expensive.
stamina.
But is that what went through your minds as well when she got back up? They're like, oh shit,
No,
this is exactly what I was expecting.
Well, I definitely you knew
Yeah.
something was going to happen with like some sort of twist. But yeah, I was by that point I wasn't thinking like she was in on it. Like it seemed like she was legitimately naive.
Yeah.
But I
thought
really
she-
wanted her to be playing him. Like
Yeah, that's what I wanted as well.
so now I'm wondering is this just a product of our like the time we're currently in with media? Like is subversion so the thing now that
Yeah, because I think we were all expecting it.
But back then, this was still shocking because like this story hadn't been done. But that's weird because like you would expect Twilight Zone, which is even older than this.
Yeah.
To have
but
set
it's
up that
far more
subversion.
subversive. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think that would have been a much more clever and gruesome ending at her, getting him at his own game.
Yeah.
Than this zombie-esque, like...
Well, that said, like because I was expecting that, I kind of appreciated that they didn't do it, and that this zombie thing, which
Well, for
granted
the sake
came out of
the
left
cheese,
field.
yeah, for the
Yeah.
sake of the cheese, yeah.
It would have been neat if she like you could have maybe bridged the gap where it's like she was the one communing with the dead and was like this weird necromancer. Like if you're gonna go weird, why not go really weird? And she feeds him to the zombie brides. Just, I don't know, but I mean, this totally. I mean, it works, but yeah, okay. I'm glad that you guys had that same reaction to the expectation set up. What else was there?
Well, she raped him.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
That was cute.
That was cute. Well,
Would you say that? Yeah, I guess you know what. In terms of today, yeah,
it was certainly rape in the scene when it happened.
yeah.
The scene after implied like he had been okay with it.
Yeah,
He didn't formally give consent in terms of it's like.
but he's like, don't expect that from me every night.
Yeah,
I would have been like, I don't know, man. He didn't really sell it for me. I feel like she was totally naive there.
yeah. I think. Well, do you mean she was naive in the sense that she knew what she did?
No, I think she was naive.
I mean, I
in the
think
sense
she
that
knows
he,
she wants
he made it obvious,
some action.
at least to the viewers, that he was not feeling this sex thing with her.
Right.
You know,
He wasn't into it.
he wasn't into it at all.
Yeah.
Not just by body language, but what he actually said to her, and she was still like infatuated and horny, and I'm like, lady.
Yeah, and
I
that
mean-
again kind of plays
Yeah.
into the whole thing where she's playing him. It's like she becomes this. I mean, she rapes him, so she takes the upper hand.
Yeah.
So that's again maybe why I was so disappointing when she just died and had a momentary. I'm alive. I'm gonna kill you again.
Yeah.
She got her piece.
She did. She sure did. Well, this is also
It's not
back in the
defining.
90s when a woman couldn't rape a man. That didn't exist,
Yeah.
right?
Much less an older woman.
So
You
I
don't
mean,
see that often.
yeah. I mean, older women having sex in general that doesn't happen. Certainly
Either
not in the
Hollywood,
90s.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe that was the gruesome horror that held up the second act.
Well, speaking of deaths, though, we have some other deaths, I feel.
Yeah, so there's a lot of, like, I guess the reason you watch the show is for the cheesy TV budget
Violence
deaths.
and- yes.
What was the best one?
Oh, dude, what was his buddy's name? Morty?
Morty?
Oh my god.
Versus the Shredder? What is
paper
that?
shredder that somehow shredded him?
Yeah.
Big
Spits of
man
blood?
that looks like Peter Griffin is getting killed because his fucking tie gets stuck in a shredder.
Well, it's not gonna, because Howard pushes the tie in, because it's definitely a murder.
Yeah, it's a murder. But then somehow his chin gets caught in there. He starts bleeding.
Yeah.
Onto the paper
Because
mess.
how does can we talk about the mechanics of a paper shredder?
Have you-
Because
have you
does
all
it
used a shredder
have
before?
a pulling action in there that is that strong that you can't just
No.
you could yank a piece of paper out of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can yank
so it's
anything, yes.
yeah, as it's going, so it's,
Well, that was another thing that was big in the 90s. Paper shredders were constantly violent. I know another weird
Lot of
connection.
recalls.
Henry Gibson, who cameos in Gremlins 2, as I mentioned before. One of the Gremlins gets killed by one of the people shoving it into a paper shredder. That's a little more
I
believable because
would've
he's
believed-
shoving it in, and it's a cartoonier world.
I mean, maybe like the fibers of the tie could get caught in the mechanics of the shredder. Like maybe
They
I'd
could
have
have
to
used
pull it
something else.
open.
They could have used something else.
And
There's blenders. There's
It was
blade
fun.
fans.
It's fun. Of all the tie deaths, this could be a separate podcast.
discussing tie deaths.
90s tie deaths.
I think my least favorite is definitely, I mean, besides like the poisonings because they were just boring. Least favorite is going to be the Sugar Ray death, which
Oh God!
I'm just still perplexed by that.
It was too dark. First of all, it didn't help that it was immensely pixelated.
They
and
had-
you
And
couldn't
they
Yeah.
stretched
see
it out with repeating it.
Yeah, there was that weird, very 90s thing where it was like, because we can't show the kill shot, we've already spent our money. It was just like a repeated frame, a loop of the stabbing motion.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was expecting to at least see his head roll onto the ground.
Yeah, something.
We don't even get that.
Why do you think Sugar Ray agreed to do this? Like, it's a very bad part.
Uh-huh.
I mean,
Well-
you gotta get your start.
I mean, I
Yeah, you
think
gotta
he
get
had
a
an
start.
agent that said, you just need to start whatever it is. You need to go. Tom
And
Hanks
remember,
is
this
doing
is season 4, so this show's been around
It's
for
true,
a
it's a
while.
big show.
It was a big show, it was popular, and I would say if I was an actor, and this show's had been going on for a while.
I would have done it for sure.
I
Oh
would've done
yeah,
it for sure, too.
And he wasn't even an actor. Yeah, it's
So screw it.
it's great first
Murder
part. I
me
think.
and-
Do you think they got the most out of their Sugar Ray?
It looked like they were gonna go in a more clever route with him because they had that that visual of him
Yeah.
like at the graveyard, and he picks up like the black fabric and he's shovels a bit of dirt onto the coffin.
He's very ominous.
So it's very
Yeah.
ominous. You're like, ooh, like what is he gonna do?
I mean, it seems like throughout this episode there was a lot of parts where it's just like, oh, we think this guy's gonna be a bigger deal than he is, and it turns out the
And we
butler.
think
I
we're
felt
gonna
the
get
same way.
yeah, we think we're gonna get that payoff.
Yeah.
When he shows up at the end, we're like, fuck yeah, and then he just dies in the.
Yeah, Howard's almost too competent.
I kind of wish he was possessed by the
Yeah.
the dead brides or some demonic bullshit happening, maybe something like that.
Yeah, or at least maybe just another moment to explain exactly how long has this been going on? Like, has he always talked to dead people?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
are
He
there
ends
other?
up doing so well that it's almost just do you think he is the evil thing in the story?
Yeah,
It's just
yeah. Because we knew at that point it wasn't the old lady.
Well, I mean, his own consciousness maybe turns on him. I don't know.
Oh yeah,
I was,
yeah, that could
wondering
work.
if it would even get to that.
What do you guys think of before we get to Tom and his death? What do you think of the performances in this movie? Like, we already talked about Henry Gibson. Like, that character, the butler Stanhope, is kind of wormy and he's threatening in the shots, but when he actually comes to it,
Gets to it. It's. I mean, for what the part is, it was fine. He was very. He was very foreboding the whole entire time. It's just really that end, just the.
It was the end that
It was the
he
last
got-
tremors
scene,
and
yeah.
He
everything.
weakened real quick.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think I like my Henry Gibson more threatening, more formidable, and he was
Yeah.
good in the scene in the previous scenes.
And he just couldn't bring himself to shooting him.
No.
Were the bullets empty? Like, was it empty?
Well, the gun never went off, so it could have been. It could have
He
been
just
just a
clicked
threat.
it, you know.
I
I'm
just
not doing
I
gun
wish he did
terminology.
something to
but-
wound him in some way. It didn't have to be mortally, but like some kind of mentally, some kind of way to wound him.
It would have been nice to see a good fight, at least.
Yeah.
Well,
the
yeah,
death.
but I guess they had to keep it super clean because they're already like on the cusp of believability with how this whole scheme is worked out. But like they needed to. Actually, no, that doesn't make any sense because he calls 911 because his wife apparently fell down the stairs. Okay, there's another dead body in the house,
Yeah.
and it's not like the movie stops there with the
Wow.
climax because she gets buried before he goes back. Right? Oh no, wait. No, he goes immediately there. The cops never show up, do they?
I don't remember cops
I don't recall
even
the cops
being involved.
at all.
No, but I mean, you never see them. But like, she falls down the steps after he's called the cops, and then he finds the note and goes immediately to the graveyard. Mm-hmm. So he's just leaving a crime scene with two bodies.
Oh.
So that means the old dead zombie lady comes all the way to the graveyard.
She seems that oblivious to. Oh wait. Oh.
But she's already rotted.
Oh, okay.
This
This is done. Yeah.
It's
Well,
not
scientifically makes zero
the
sense.
timeline is really off in this movie. 'Cause, yeah, that's where I got because
Well, do you think? I mean, at the staircase,
I guess
when he's calling it, because he's calling it for the flight at the bottom of the staircase. Could that be another day?
was that before or after?
That was
What are you
after.
talking about right now? What
When
is
when he kills the woman.
Yeah, down. She falls on the stairs.
Effie dies.
Yes.
Falls down the stairs, but then we cut to him on the phone booking a flight on the bottom of the stairs.
And then
so that could be another time.
That's right,
Oh,
and
I
that's
forgot
when he
about
finds
that.
the note.
Yeah, and then he finds the note.
So that's right. There is enough time in between where they.
Sorry, Tom. We didn't mean all these things.
It gets muddy at the end, and that's the downside. Is like I feel like there's some good stuff in here for a low budget Tales from the Crypt episode, but it gets really unclear at the end.
You know what? You know what I
Yeah.
found more fun with that Henry Gibson character? If it wasn't even a gun, if it was like maybe like a fireplace choker or something like threatening that wasn't
Something very
necessarily
clue-like.
Yeah.
Yeah,
A
where it's like
candlestick.
he had to like wield it himself. Then I would have found that more threatening. But then also just I don't know. I would have bought it more. The gun. I don't know. Something
Yeah.
about-
And I mean the fact that he clearly had to do something with that other body.
Yeah.
Would have been more fun.
It's a little messy, and you can see some interesting visual flair for Tom Hanks, but keeping the story coherent, keeping his character portrayals consistent with
Yeah.
Henry Gibson, a little.
I can imagine how challenging it must have been to even write this because they're trying to fit all of this into 25 minutes?
Yeah, and there's probably at least 20,
It was real
probably 22 of
convoluted.
these a year back then.
Yeah.
So I mean,
It's a lot of story in just 25 minutes.
and I'm sure they shot it within a week. So
Yeah.
It's not 3 days.
It's yeah, it's television, so that's how it goes, and especially when it's your first time up to bat directing. So, but I think it was good because obviously he gets a lot better with that thing you do. So it's not that he doesn't grow as a filmmaker, but you can see some visual potential. But yeah, keeping his characters consistent and his story portrayal, it's a little muddy, and a lot of that does fall to the scripts.
But yeah, exactly. In television, the people who, call the shots are really the screenwriters.
Yeah.
Whereas in film, it's the director. So I just wonder how much say did Tom Hanks really have with a lot of this? You know what I mean?
Well,
do
he's
you
also
think?
Tom Hanks, so I wonder if that.
But was he Tom Hanks then? You know what I'm saying? It's not like the Tom
What
Hanks of
year
now.
was that?
This is 92, so this is after he's already been a pretty big star.
Okay.
Hasn't quite won the Oscar yet.
Okay.
But this was after Big
Yeah,
and
right. Yeah.
and Splash and all that good stuff.
Okay, so we had a big name for himself.
Okay.
I mean, that's how he got the job, I'm sure, because Robert
Oh, for
Zemeckis
sure.
is an executive producer on the
Mm-hmm.
show. But yeah, as a directorial effort, how do you feel?
Not bad. Is this his debut?
This was his first time directing.
No, it's good.
George, you sound like a mom who's trying to be nice.
Like
to
if it's your
kid.
friend, you're like, it's great.
not.
As a,
Well,
for
no,
a
I
person,
don't think it's like revolutionary, but I think it's a good effort.
it's certainly serviceable, and with the story, the
Sounds
convoluted
condescending,
story.
but-
Yeah, I know.
I mean, you gotta do what you can. You gotta work with the script,
Yeah.
right? And I'm basing it off of the idea that he couldn't change the script.
No, I think the one downside where he could have really added some flourish was more to the gruesome death scenes. I think they could have been more exciting. I mean, the fact that
more conflict. It made it look easy.
he made it look easy. Yeah, there could have been a lot
death
more
was way too
struggle.
easy.
True. It's very instant each time.
Yeah, and
No struggle.
again, I'm
He never had a
sure
struggle. Yeah.
I'm sure there's a little bit of problems with the budget, but yeah, you could have done something with no budget to make that more striking.
I mean, that requires, like, a lot of experience with, like, blocking and fight coordination. It just makes you wonder.
Yeah, you
what
can
he
see
had.
like the dialogue is a little bit more controlled. That the stunt stuff, a little green around the edges. What did you think of Tom's death? His tiny little part is the video.
I liked it because he that's what he does for a living. Is
Yeah.
produce these like tapes and all that, and getting little old ladies companions, and then he ends up dying a la TV.
Straight through the screen.
Yep.
And kind of
right in there.
metatextual too, in the sense that Tom Hanks gets killed by a television screen.
Yeah.
And this is really his first, well, not his first foray to TV. Obviously, he started in TV with Bosom Buddies.
Yeah,
But I don't know. You could read it. What could we read into that? He's like, TV would have killed him if he would have stayed on TV, so he had to jump to movies.
yeah.
I don't
TV
know.
killed the film star.
Killed. Oh, damn it. We're on the
I
same.
got there first.
I was going to sing it, all right? But you know what? You saved me from
From singing.
singing.
You're welcome. No one has to hear that.
I think you guys were making fun of the makeup, and while it doesn't entirely make sense with maybe
makeup?
the time of the very end, the zombie brides, I thought a couple of them looked really good. Like specifically the one with the bridal gown still on.
Yeah.
Which made no logical sense.
Oh, it was
obviously.
so good. Yeah, it's just like from
Did he
From the
poison
wedding
her,
straight
like,
into
right
the-
after the wedding?
Yeah. And then they buried her in her wedding dress.
Yeah.
Who would do that?
Well-
but no, like the goopy eye coming out of that looked great.
But you know,
I love that.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I love that.
I'm no like forensics freaking doctor here or anything like that, but I would assume once you have passed and have been there even a couple days, you no longer have blood. Isn't there a process?
Oh yeah, I mean it makes no logical sense.
I'm thinking that they should have looked like what's his face from Hocus Pocus?
Billy.
Billy. Because he looked dried up, he still looked, terrifying and scary in his own way, but he was dusty and it looked like he had been under there for a while. Like, that's what I was... Or like Thriller.
I see what you're saying, but if you have eye goop in the budget, that I think
still
that
have eye goop.
animatronic looked great.
Yeah. It was just such a cheat, though, because they clearly filmed this in pure darkness with, like, a couple of light streaks.
I mean, the makeup itself
to
didn't
hide
look
it.
applied that well. It's very, like, pasted on.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there was one in particular that
But-
came out there, and it looked like they just gave her gack. Remember gack?
Yeah,
That green
it was very
slime, and they
goopy.
just threw it on her face like, hey, listen, we don't have time to do your makeup. Throw this on.
Oh god, we gotta shoot this right now.
They had a couple, like, it looked like
Daylight's
real
on us.
live maggots on a couple faces, though.
There was one with the eyeball that popped out. That was funny.
I think it was the eyeball popping one, the one that was in the bridal gown.
Oh, she got all the good stuff.
She got the good stuff, and yeah, everybody else was kind of like,
I think the one with the best makeup was the wife that he murdered at the very beginning. What was-
Matilda?
Matilda.
Yeah.
Because you can see, like, her lip had decayed off, and you see, like, more of, like, the top of her teeth and the gums.
Oh, yeah.
That was done really... I think that was the best one. And the rest... It was just kind of, like, off. Like, some of the makeup, like I said, the gag. It was like,
But
alright.
effective for the 3 seconds that they
Yeah.
Yeah.
were.
So you guys think, what's our takeaway from this movie? From None But the Lonely Hearts? What does the title even mean?
None but the lonely hearts. I mean, lonely old ladies.
Lonely old ladies. None but I like none but the old ladies. Is that what he's only going for them? I don't
Oh,
know.
true. It could be that, but you could say that everyone's lonely in this movie.
Yeah, you're right.
in a
That's
way.
true. Especially Stanhope and the Gravedigger.
Man.
There's a lot more potential to this movie, which is not surprising. It's a TV episode of Tales from the Crypt. But I don't know if there's any great takeaway from it. It's kind of just a gruesome, fun little romp.
It is what it is. It's the trope of the...
A guy gets what he deserves,
Oh, yeah.
so to speak.
It's like Goosebumps for adults.
I guess to end this, what was the best pun from the Crypt Keeper?
The end.
That last one, I have it.
I have it too.
I love a ghoul who gives you head and lets you keep it.
I'm like, you perv.
All right, well that's our discussion on Tales from the Crypt. None but the Lonely Hearts. I think that's all we can say about this weird, wonderful directorial debut for Tom Hanks. Sort of a rocky effort, but not without its charms, much like the man himself. He gets better with every directorial debut, at least until we talk about Larry Crown, which we'll get to someday. But we're excited to see how he evolves with That Thing You Do.
Which we will be talking about next week.
So, yeah, this has been great. Guys, thanks for being on the show.
This was a nice little nostalgia ride.
If people want to learn more about you, Jenny and George, where can they find you?
Well, I'm sure you want to follow me after hearing my brilliant commentary on this episode of Tales from the Crypt.
Tom Hanks fans are big into your guys' commentary.
Well, you can find me on the Aggressive Comics channel on YouTube. Comics is spelled with an X, because, you know.
An aggressive spelled the traditional route.
The traditional route, which strangely people always misspell it.
Is it because the
they
two
skip
S's
the
or
extra,
the two G's?
the two G's.
So it's aggressive.
I guess. So yeah, that's how you can find me on YouTube, and then on Instagram, it's Janizzle with 2 N's and 2 Z's.
You, George?
And you can find me in your dreams, but if you want to look on social media...
Well, I seem to find you in my nightmares, but...
Some people call those dreams. And you could find me on Instagram as Kaplan, that starts with a K. It's a lovely name. And then on Snapchat, I am Judge Captain, those 2 words put together. And we will have some fun on Snapchat.
He's notorious for Snapchat.
He's crazy on Snapchat. Yeah.
I have fun.
So yeah, check him out. If you want to follow me, I'm at Elvis Kunesh on Twitter and Instagram and pretty much everything else. Follow the show on Twitter at TomHanksPod. Tell us, what was your favorite pun? Do you have a different episode of the Tales from the Crypt that doesn't have Tom Hanks that you think we should talk about? We won't. That's not what the show's about. But let us know. And any email questions, send it to tomhankspod@gmail.com. If you like the show... help spread the word, give us a like, give us a rating, leave a review on iTunes. That's the best way for us to get more audience members, and we desperately need that here at TomHanksgiving. And until then, thanks for listening.
Tom Hanks is a friend you can turn to when cold winds blow. Cold winds blow. And then you'll know, now and forever, a friend in this world. You've got a friend in Tom